So this is the entrance to the Beaton Institute, and we're just around the corner from the art gallery. If you come down the Great Hall, Student Culture and Heritage section of the university, and turn the corner, the Beaton is here.
Yep. It's like a magical portal to another world. I like to call it the TARDIS because it's bigger on the inside.
That's
and
right.
it takes you back in time.
That's fantastic.
And this is where the public comes in, right?
This is where they first come in, and so we do, the entrance is there, and there is a bit of a long walk to get to the reference desk. So it's quite a large space, and sometimes the space can be full, and it's used by classes that come in, both university and public school. But we also get a lot of our reference requests through email. So even if it's not looking very busy in the archive, we are working on other requests or projects as well. And behind you, I don't know if we can swing behind. I don't know if all of your viewers will know what these are, but they're microfilm readers.
Okay.
And so we get a lot of researchers coming in and doing work with our microfilm. As you can see, this one's out of order.
Oh.
but we have over here a new digital microfilm reader. So this is fantastic. The library also at CBU has one. And usually when people arrive and they haven't been to the Beaton before, we give them a little history of the Beaton. Started in 1957. Sister Margaret Beaton was the librarian at the time at Xavier Junior College on George Street. And she also trained as an archivist and started, she recognized the need and the potential loss of Cape Breton Island's documentary heritage. So she started an archive basically. Then that moved to the university, and it was where the CBU library is now. It's called Cape Bretoniana. And in around 1998, this space was built, and the archive moved here. And it's grown exponentially. We're now 17,000 square feet, and yeah, it's quite an extraordinary collection that she started.
You want to show us the card catalog?
I would love to.
For those of you who are too young to remember, this used to be your Google search bar.
So we still use a card catalog. You can see it's organized by subject. Sometimes the subject can be the type of information. You can see census listed there, or it could be a geographic location. We have sometimes individuals listed. And this side of our card catalog, they're divided into the published and unpublished. So by unpublished, we mean primarily archival documents, or manuscript groups, and essentially what is truly archival material. And that would be found sort of on this side. On the other side, you'll find more books and pamphlets, secondary or published sources, and these can be also organized sometimes by author or sometimes by title. So you can look under both. Down below, too, if you can reach down here, we have a Cape Breton Post Index. It's not exhaustive, it's not fully complete, but it's very handy. And then you can sort of take the microfilm, put it on either our microfilm reader, or you go to the library and pick a copy of the newspaper.
Is there a particular reason for a card catalog, or just because it's convenient?
Well, originally this was the way we still do, this is how we access the collections. I guess if you're asking more about the history of card catalogs, I don't know if I can speak to that, but as far as, it was a library convention that essentially was created to put the cataloged information out for the public, and the archives adopted it because it was also a way to create subject headings and then to link to the collection. So what we are slowly doing with the digital archive is taking a lot of this information that's in the card catalog, placing it online so that when you search it, there's a lot of connections. So maybe that when you look up something in our card catalog, you only see that one entry, whereas so for Cape Breton, you can imagine the number of entries for that. But when you do, when you're able to refine a search online in a database, like you would use in Google, but we have more advanced features as well, you're then able to cross formats and cross collections and sort of gather all of the information together. So in the end, it will take a number of years, but we hope that it speeds up, it makes searches more efficient and more effective, and researchers are able to, you know, do a lot of the research from home, but also come in and be prepared to look for a number of collections that they've already sourced online. So as you can see, we do have books in the archive. We have published sources. In particular, these would be a lot of our music books, music collections. We do have one of my favorite parts of the day is when we have musicians come in, and we will have sometimes classes come in and they will take the tune books and actually play here at the Beaton at the archive. So it's so
cool.
nice. It is cool. It's great when you hear music coming out of the archive, and you know, we can sneak in and take a little listen. But I'd say the music collection, the music books, the rare tune books are used quite extensively. But we do have other, this is sort of our rare book cabinet, but then we have other books out on the shelf that are just ready reference that people can take off. And we have a very nice Cape Breton collection. We have a folklore section as well, although CBU Library has a really large collection of folklore books as well. What we would have sometimes are pamphlets or self-published materials that end up on our shelves that may not be held in, say, the Cape Breton Regional Library or CBU Library. So it is good to check here if you don't find what you're looking for at the libraries.
So this is the stuff I'm eventually going to be looking at, eh?
That's right. These are the Old Trout Funnies. They're a series of comics created by Paul McKinnon. And Dr. Ian Brody is a professor here at CBU and is working with the material as well. There's eventually going to be an exhibit at the Cape Breton University Art Gallery, and Ian is publishing a book about the funnies. So they're fantastic examples of comics and local comics, really interesting subject matter, and very funny, really funny. There were also a series of calendars created. And so this is an example of material that isn't necessarily old. Sometimes people think that archives only collects things that are, you know, 100 years old, or they have sometimes an arbitrary cutoff. But we also take basically things that are of lasting historical significance. So we really feel that this is, you know, it's interesting satire, political satire. You know, it gives a snapshot of what was happening, you know, sort of during the 70s and 80s, and even the 90s when the calendars were created. So they are important to retain and preserve and make available. And then it's even better when we have a connection, an academic connection with faculty who is going to disseminate and, you know, make very public their research and focus on the archival material. So it's a great partnership, and the exhibit's going to be a lot of fun. We also have other fairly modern, recent records that have come. You know, sometimes you know, a company will go out of business and we'll end up with their records on a large scale. That would be Cisco. So we've just received the latest and the last donation, I think, of steel records. So those span a number of decades. And we have the Joint Action Group, JAG Records, so a lot of sort of modern environmental information and process around the remediation of the tar ponds. But then, you know, we also go back into, as I said before, you know, we do have things that are, you know, from the 16th century onward.
So this is the really old map.
Yes, this is the Gastaldi map, Giacomo Gastaldi, and he based the map on explorations by another Italian explorer, Verrazzano, in 1524, I believe. You can see all the interesting sea creatures that are drawn here.
This one kind of looks like the luck dragon from Neverending Story.
It does. It's exactly like that. That's right. And you can see all the fishing that's happening. So speaking to the resources that were available, that everyone was interested in. You can see Newfoundland is really broken up. They have Aboriginal.
Like this guy over here.
Representation, doing hunting. And up here, though, they have wings, and I've read that that sort of these representations of the devil actually were meant to represent the Beothuk.
Oh.
But that was one right up about the map.